Hello, 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 and welcome to Relationship Rhetoric. I'm your host, Unapologetically Angela, and it is so nice to be with you on this amazing Thursday. Um, Again, I always start my shows the same way. I'm always excited about my guests, and I make it my business now intentionally. If I have not bumped into someone who has struck my curiosity or who has not. Really made me want to dive into their life, then I just show you these wonderful, amazing throwbacks that I remember that touched my heart and I got a lot of feedback on. But I'm so grateful to have met this young lady. I actually stumbled upon her. Um, Really, I was supposed to just be going somewhere with a friend to drop off some things to check in, and ended up staying and hearing her amazing story. And what I am learning as of late is that we tend to harp so much on the negative things that our young people are doing, and not really pouring into them and not really allowing to shine the light on the beautiful work that they're doing, not even for the community, but for themselves. There are some young people out here that are truly, truly putting in the work. And that makes me feel good because at some point in my life, I'm going to need someone to take care of me, or I'm going to need someone that's going to sit on the porch and have kind words to share with me. And I want it to be the young people that I can say, girl, I remember when, and I remember when such and such and such and such, not the person that I'm trying to hurry up and get inside my door and lock my door. Okay. That is not all that's out there. There are amazing people, young people out here doing the work to make this world a better place. And this young lady is one of them. So I will not prolong. I want you all to meet and hear her story. And I know that it is going to touch you and open you wide open like it did me. Ladies and gentlemen, Balisha Thomas. And I think I pronounced your name right the first time, didn't I?
It's Balisha.
It's Balisha.
Yes,
Balisha. I
ma'am.
like that even better. Balisha. Balisha.
Thank
Okay.
you. No,
Okay,
I'm so
what's the meaning
grateful.
of it? Do you know? Is there a meaning to the name?
It's the combination of my mom's name and my dad.
Oh, okay. I'll take it. Hey.
Well, my dad's name is Bob, and my mom's name is Lisa.
Okay.
They're both high strong people, so
They needed
I
both of
think
their
I came
names.
out there.
They needed both of their names attached to you.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
I love it. I love it.
It's
So that
it's
was
a
a
lot.
great that's a great segue into that. So talk to me about your upbringing. Where are you from? How were you as a child? What was life like?
Well, I'm from Memphis, Tennessee, right here in the M. Um, I grew up in North Memphis though. And typically the north side of places is like the excuse me if I sniffle a little bit, my sinuses is acting a fool. So but typically the north side of places is just like, the richer side. In Memphis, the north side is the ghetto. So I grew up in a little neighborhood called Hollywood.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, slash Hyde Park, right over there off Chelsea where that church is chicken at.
Absolutely.
Um, yeah, yeah, I can see the churches from my porch where I grew up. Um, I would stand on my porch and I like, man, they go churches again, another day. Um, I was always a talkative child. I talked a lot. Um, my mother would get my report card. I would have S's in conduct. So my conduct was satisfactory, and they would say she's all right. She just talk a lot. That's it. She talks a lot. I always had something to say. I always wanted to give my commentary on stuff. Um, and I was also a very secretive child, very private child. Most of my business stayed on my person,
Mhm.
um, and I think I get that from my mom. My mom is very secretive. You ain't gonna know nothing about Lisa unless Lisa tell you herself, and she just might not. So I always wanted to make sure that I was around people that I liked, make sure I was around beautiful things. I was also into the macabre. So I loved horror movies and things of the sort. I was kind of an odd child. A lot of my family members would call me being just a little weird, as they would say. Um, so yeah, my childhood was very interesting. I didn't grow up in the most loving home. My mom and dad were not physical touchers. They were not the ones to say "I love you." They were not the ones to kiss you goodnight and tell you bedtime stories. Um, they were definitely parents who went to work, came home, and make sure we had clothes, food, and a roof over our head. And that's the best you got. They were definitely there for us as far as like anything that we need. Um, my dad was a little bit more nurturing than my mom, and I grew up seeing that this very strong, um, independent, and so stereotypical. I say those words and I describe her that way, but she literally was very strong, very hard, very independent woman, workaholic. She didn't play no games, and to this day, I have never, almost never seen a crack in my mother's armor,
Mm.
like at all. She does not break down. She is not vulnerable. She's none of that. So you can only imagine um, someone like me who wanted to talk a lot, who wanted to connect, who wanted to love and be all lovey dovey and cute. I didn't get that, so that wasn't nurtured in me. But that is a part of my essence. Um, Whereas Bob, I call him Bob Thomas for real. That's his name, Bob Thomas. He a slick old man. Bob Thomas, slick boy. My dad is what you call an old school fool. He a old school player, real cool like that. I always got a hat with a feather in it. Um, I love my dad. He's 71, so he's a lot older than a lot of my friends' grandparents. But he he taught me what they call the game. He taught me how to be slick. He taught me how to move and groove in these streets. And so you have this woman who's real hard and cynical, and you have this man who's super out there, outgoing, charismatic, and a slick talker. And you put those two things together, um, and so I grew up kind of confused. I didn't know what the
Mm.
hell was going on. I had no idea because and because there's me who is emotional, who wants to love and pick flowers and frolic in the park, and that part of me just wasn't nurtured by my parents. So I had to kind of figure out how to maneuver and figure out who I was going to be in that space.
Mm.
Um, and I'm still kind of trying to figure that out. But all in all, my childhood wasn't a bad childhood, but I did have, you know, just regular old traumas.
Yeah.
Um, some things that I will talk about, and some things that I just probably never say again out
Mm.
loud. So
Gotcha.
yeah.
I gotcha. So, at
I
what
hope that.
point do yeah, yeah, yeah. It absolutely did. Absolutely did.
Okay. Okay.
Absolutely did. Yeah. So, at what point, give me like elementary school, middle school, high school, after high school, do you feel like you got at least comfortable in your skin?
High school, man. Elementary and middle school was just so weird.
Yeah.
Um, because in elementary school, I was operating in my essence. Children, they don't snap out of the spirit
That's right.
realm until about 6 years old.
Hmm.
5 or 6, that's when it hits them that they're
I'm
human.
right.
I'm real.
Right.
Oh, you know what I'm saying? Regular human emotions hit them, and it's just like, ah, you know what I'm saying? Ah, here we go again. Um, and so elementary school just was a blur, but middle school was so awkward. Like 14. Um, Unfortunately, when I was 14 years old, I started being sexually abused by someone in my family. And on top of me already being awkward, the sexual abuse triggered a mental disorder that I deal with. I deal with bipolar type 2. So um, my mental health disorder started to develop at that time. So a lot of middle school was a blur because it was my brain was recalibrating. Um, and so middle school was just awkward. That's when I started getting into boys, and that's when I found that I like dark skinned men, and things like that. But high school, my mental health was, I mean, my mental health disorder kicked in, and that particular person was no longer abusing me, and I started to look at my mom and my father. I started to look at my parents as not just my parents, but as humans,
Mm-hmm.
just regular old people making regular old mistakes,
Mm-hmm.
um, living regular old life. And that is when my spiritual journey began. It began at 17 years old. Um, Also in high school, I came across so many beautiful women that took the place of my mom in areas that she just didn't have to give to me. That was that emotional support, that emotional availability. So you have my godmom, Latasha Ewell. You have an elder in the community named Mama Ayo.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you have, you know, Mama Ayo,
Mm-hmm.
my elder. Love her, love her. Yeah, Mama Ayo took me in. Sister Jasira Olatunji, Sister Afi Afriye, um, um, Jacqueline Osland. You know what I mean? Just all these beautiful, beautiful women that came in with this, with touch your womb and hold your heart. And I'm like, what the hell are y'all talking about? What do you mean
Yeah.
touch my womb? I don't know. What is a womb, right? Um, so high school is, when I had a lot of this divine feminine energy around me, and I'm telling you, it took me to a place I didn't know existed. And so by the time I got to college, I was very stern and sturdy in who I was. I was definitely becoming comfortable in who Balisha was. And I started to learn to separate myself from um, what my mama wanted to be and what my dad expected of me as a girl. Um, because I'm not his only girl. So I started to separate myself from all of that, be comfortable in who I am. I started asking myself these existential questions, and boy, life started lifing. I realized real quickly that spirituality is not all love and light. It's
Mm-hmm.
not all bunny bows. It's not cute. Honestly, most of the time, to get to higher self, you gotta climb up a ladder with no shoes on. Um, and you gotta get some of that roughage on yourself. And once I learned that, and once I started to accept that, I will say life became not necessarily easier, but I was able to understand it just a little bit more. I was able to understand like why life is important, why it's necessary to not only be alive, but to live and to love, to receive love, and to be loved. It just all started making sense. Um, and I have those women around me to thank for that, for sure.
Nice. So just to backtrack a little bit, did you ever have to, or did you ever seek help concerning your sexual abuse as far
Um,
as healing from it, and processing it?
Absolutely. Um, of course, first I tried to tell someone,
Mm-hmm.
but the age old thing in the black community, we will sweep sexual abuse under the rug and cast the gay cousin out the family. Crazy. It's crazy. It's the craziest thing. Um, I understand historically and generationally where they come from. I don't accept it. I don't like it. but I understand how that happened. Um, so that was the first step, and just trying to be honest about it with somebody. Of course, nothing happened. Um, what happened, the backlash I got from the abuse itself is what traumatized me more than abuse.
Mm.
Um, because I just couldn't fathom why I was being looked at as competition or a threat or like a grown ass woman.
Mm.
I couldn't. I'm like I'm 15. I don't even my my voice ain't even dropped yet. I don't know what's going. So uh, my periods are still irregular. I'm just like, what the hell's going on? That is actually when I decided that I was going to study psychology when I went to college, because I had to study something to figure out how y'all think. What's the process
Mm.
here? Because there is no way, right? But going back to those same women, Mama Ayo, I was 19 years old. I was an intern at Stacks. And that abuse had been sitting on me for about 5 or 6 years at this point. Um, and I went to Mama Ayo. I said, "Hey, I can't do this no more." Um, I didn't try it. I didn't try journaling. I've been journaling for years. I'm talking about I had stacks of journals, big, small, full of just my thoughts over the years. I had a shoebox full of notes. I'm talking about, and I had been meditating that whole year. I'm talking about I went on a full blown self healing journey. I discovered Queen Afua. I hope that's her name. Um, I hope that's how you pronounce her name. Um, I started to dive deep into India.Arie and Erica Badu and Miss Jill Scott. I mean, I'm talking. I'm trying to go the whole nine. I'm talking about crystals, the praying, highlighting in my Bible. And I was like, Mama Ayo, it ain't working. And she was like, come on over here. I'm gonna give you a yoni steam session, and we're gonna do some womb healing Reiki. And I was just like, okay. So I went over there, and that lady touched my womb and spoke life into it. And she said, this is where you hold all that trauma right here. This is your root chakra. And it happened right here. The actual physicality of your abuse happened right here. So you have to go back. You have to go to the root of the issue so you can dig it up. And we talked, and she curated a blend for me, and she made it up how it's supposed to be made up. Hey, if you know, you know. Um, and she set me on top of it, and we did some guided meditation. She was like, "I'm going to walk out and let you journey, and I'll be back." Soon as that lady walked in that room, I was in tears. I was in tears. I was toe up from the floor up, crying my eyes out. The physicality of yoni steaming is a beautiful thing. It's refreshing, it's rejuvenating, it's cleansing, it's this and that and that and this. But what I realized in that moment is this ancient practice was curated, designed by and for women to heal not just physical things, not just fibroids, not just period cramps, but energy. It was also designed to heal your spirit. It was in that moment that I started to break up that trauma and break it down and compartmentalize it and deal with it. I was 19 years old. Um, of course, my sexual abuse still affects me and affect how I interact with sex and pleasure to this day. I mean, it's just one of those things. But I don't think I would have gotten this far in my journey if it were not for Mama Ayo that night. Because right now I am a young esteemed practitioner myself. And I talk to women all the time about, when I bring them in, because a lot of my clients are survivors. I have a young esteemed blend specifically designed for sexual abuse survivors, um, or sexual assault survivors. And what I tell them all the time is this right here, what we're about to do is not just a physicality thing, it's a spiritual thing. Because their steam is directly interacting with your root chakra. That's where everything happened. That's where we need to focus our attention, or at the very least, go back to, so we can make our way back up and make our way out. So I hope that answered your question.
Oh,
And I hope that
yes.
makes sense.
Yes, beautifully.
Okay.
Beautifully. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, yes, yes. Thank you for that. I appreciate you sharing that. So let's come up to recent life and how life has been lifing.
Man. What they
Um,
say, well, man, I feel like I'm on a struggle bus, the short and yellow one, boy.
yeah.
Oh, you want me to talk about that? Okay. Um, is there anything in particular you like to
Well,
know?
let
Or
me ask you this. Okay, so you were 19. How old are you now?
I am 24.
20,
4.
24. Okay, 24. So not a lot of time has passed between
No.
your actual, I'm gonna say, breaking up and dissolving of that trauma to you leading up to um, the baby.
Yeah.
And so,
I'm not.
How are you truly handling that? Was it triggering, or is it just in a compartment of its own?
Oh yeah, it's definitely in a compartment of its own. It's way off on its own. I was 19 when that happened. When that breaking up happened, when I started to actually face my abuse, and things of the sort, and not just my abuse, but everything else that happened to me in life.
Mhm.
Excuse me. And when I started to come into myself and become Balisha, um, become the woman that I am today, and start to lay those bricks down for the woman that I'm growing into. I was 20 years old when I had my daughter.
20.
I was 20. Hmm. I was 20. Um, she was born October 10th. I didn't turn 21 until she was 4 weeks old. So her birthday is literally 4 weeks before mine. So I tell people all the time, everybody talking about how drunk they were on their 21st birthday, how lit they were. I was like, well, I was breastfeeding on my 21st birthday, actually. Um, I was at home. And with my boob in somebody's mouth. So I had a pretty good time. Right? It was a good time. It was all right, I was nourishing a life. I mean, what more can you
That's
ask for?
right. That's
Um,
right.
you know, what more can you ask for? I was literally out here being superwoman. So I mean, you can't. I mean, you really ain't got nothing on me as far as 21st birthdays. You did. So, but there is nothing that I've been through that's going to ever top that. There is no joy that I could possibly ever experience that is going to top the joy of being someone's mother. You can't touch it. When I had I think about her birthday, the actual day, what some people may call you the born day, but her actual birthday. I think about that every single day because it was just so amazing, the process. First of all, I was in labor 32 hours. I was in labor 32 hours. Lord have mercy. And it was all natural, um, unmedicated birth. No epidural. I had her vaginally, and everything actually was pretty copacetic. Nothing necessarily went wrong. Um, Everything was pretty smooth, but I did tear a little bit, and I was sitting there. And before I say this, there is no modesty in birth. So if you're looking for me to be modest as I'm telling my birth story, go on about your business. There's no modesty. It ain't no modesty in how you made the baby. So it ain't gonna be
Period.
no modesty in how to yeah. Okay.
Period.
So if you coming here thinking I'm gonna be modest about this birth story, I don't know what to tell you. But I'm sitting there with my legs spread from here to there, from east to west. The whole hospital could see what God gave me that particular. If they came in, they just would have saw everything. And I'm getting sewn up by my midwife. I ain't had lip chap in over 30 hours, so my lip cracked. Um, I know I smelled a little dank. I ain't showered in over a day and some change. I mean, it was rough. It was rough in there. And hey, you know what? Birth ain't always cute. I don't care what those photos say on social media. It ain't cute in the process.
That's right.
And I was sitting there with all this roughage around me with my baby in my arms. And I cannot make this up. You know, in the shows and in the movies where the main character is looking around and the crowd is slowing down, who's
Mm-hmm.
ever talking to them, distorted. That was me in that moment talking to my baby for the first time. Like Earthside. I was sitting there with her in my arms. I'm getting sewn up. They taking pictures. My baby daddy over there crying. And it was just me and her. And all I could say to her was, I love you so much. And there is nothing that I wouldn't do for you. Nothing. That right there is the true definition of unconditional love. So when my daughter passed away, as cliche as this is going to sound, and I love cliches as I'm getting older because they're cliche for a reason. There was a hole in my chest, a void that is never going to be filled up again. There's a space in my heart that is hollow that nobody will be able to fill up. Nobody. When a mother loses her child, she loses everything that she knows life to be. Because when women have babies, we are the closest thing. And this may be a hot take, I don't know. But to me, we are the closest thing to God that there will ever be on this earth. Because we are the portal for these spirits and souls to come through. Not only are we birthing a human, but we are giving birth. We are a literal portal for their souls to come earthside. That's God. I mean, quite literally. So when they're taken from us, everything we understand about self is destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
Because how? How could I have done this grand thing and it's just gone like that. Losing a child, to me, is one of the few things that will make you turn from God.
Mm.
Because I mean, you could. I mean, anything can happen where you ask God, where you question Him. But that will make you leave. And I like to liken it to the crucifixion of Jesus. Because if Jesus was God Himself, when He was standing up there, He was strung up on this tree. He cried out to God, "Man, why me? Like, what you got going on?" You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Even God in that moment questioned Himself.
Mm.
Because what the why, right? And people say the darndest things. Oh, you would have another one. You're young. It's all in God's plan.
Mm.
Craziest things. And it's like my youth. You have no idea what that did to me. And I tell people all the time, what that did to me, it not only created this certain melancholy in me that's probably going to always be there forever. It also created a sense of body dysmorphia. Now I'm an attractive lady.
Mm-hmm.
I'm aware of that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm great. Thank you. And I'm grateful for that. Thank God for that. And I have a nice body. I'm built up all right. Shout out to my mama. Because she was built up all right. You should have seen Lisa when she was my age, boy. She was built up all right. My whole family be like, "You built like your mama." I'm like, I know she was a bad mama jam, boy. I know she was bad. And she was. I saw a picture of my mom, my age. She was beautiful. She's still a pretty lady, but Lord, 24-year-old Lisa, you couldn't touch her. She was chocolate, boy. She had them pearly whites. Oh, you couldn't touch Lisa back in her day, boy. 1980s. You're not touching my mama, right? She was a bad lady. Circa 1987, please, never. Um, so shout out to Lisa, but I also struggle with a sense of body dysmorphia because I did all that work, 32-hour labor, I breastfed, you know, I got the scar to prove, right? I got the unaligned spine, but the product, and I'm not trying to say my baby's a product, but the manifestation of all of that
Mm-hmm.
is no longer here. So sometimes I look at my body like you got to be joking.
Mm-hmm.
This can't be real. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So you took to writing about it. And so
I did.
what how did that come about? How did that idea end up in your heart?
To write.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Because it's a book,
it's
right?
part of
It's an
all
actual in it a book. It's just your journal.
just my journal.
That's a book.
Yeah.
That's
No,
a
yeah,
book.
I've been told that. I'm gonna
Yeah.
publish it one day. I'm gonna
Yeah.
publish it.
Yeah.
Um, and I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Um, but that's who I'll always be, and I've always been a writer. It's part of who I am. Um, we talked about going back to your roots. You gotta go back
Yeah.
so you can dig it up.
Yeah.
I had to go back. That right there, I had to go back. I started writing because I was about to lose my mind. Quite literally. People take losing your mind lightly. No, I was about to lose it. I'm talking about straight jacket and padded walls. I was telling someone, when you on the brink of insanity, it's like sitting on a ledge and you're looking out into absolute nothingness, and you're about to jump. Fuck it, I'm just gonna just go ahead. And it's a voice. You don't see it, you just hear it. It's a voice standing right behind you, like, come on, that ain't it. You get up, turn around, and just start walking back. That's what writing was for me. So come on, don't do that. Don't do it. Come on back. Um, and in writing, I developed a whole new style of poetry within myself. My poems used to be so long and drawn out and metaphorical, but now my poems are like this big and they get straight to the point. You dig what I'm saying? Because, as is life. Honestly, life is this big.
That's right.
And it's straight to the point. You live, where you born, you live, you die. That's it. I mean, when it's all said and done, that's it. And so that's what my poem emulates. It emulates life. It begins and it ends. And you just take what you can anywhere in between. Mm-hmm. Because, and as the life of my daughter, she was only 2 years old. She was born.
She was only how old?
She was 2.
2 years old.
She was 2. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful baby. Her name is Elena Rose. And she was, oh my God, she was absolutely amazing. Oh, should have met her, man. She was the happiest baby alive, and I do not say that biasly. She was so happy. She was so happy that she had a bounce in her walk. She would just walk. It was like she was walking to a little tune. She was an earthworm. I'm talking about from an infant. She wanted to be in the grass, and she loved to be outside in the rain with no rain boots. She wanted to feel the dirt in between her feet. She had a thing for flowers. She loved to kiss people. I don't know where she got that from. I don't know. Because it wasn't me or her daddy. That's for damn sure. But she would walk up to somebody and want to kiss them. She was so sweet, so loving, a true social butterfly, true to her Libra nature. Mm-hmm. She taught me in just a couple of years that wealth, materialistic things, all the money in the world is not going to buy pureness and happiness. So I remember one day I was just like, I want to be wealthy, Elena. And she was like, I want yogurt. And I was like, you don't want to be wealthy? She was like, I want yogurt. And so I mean, people think it's funny and it's hilarious because you should have said, I'm a straight face. I want yogurt. I said it the first time. I'm going to say it again because you didn't hear me. what I don't know. It woke up some of my brain. She was like, "Bro, wealth is not all that. Cause where you gonna take it? Can't take it with you.
Mm.
I want what's gonna make me feel good. And right now, that just so happen to be yogurt. And that's it. That's all I got for you. So that's who my daughter was. But she was just a beautiful baby. I'm talking about she was physically beautiful as well. I mean, she get it from my mama, but she was a beautiful baby. And but she was born one day. She lived a little while and she was gone. And I think subconsciously, I wrote my poem modeled after her. My poetry is modeled exactly how her life was. It was short and sweet. So whenever I write, it's an ode to my baby. No matter what I'm writing about, it's an ode to her every single time.
So if I may ask, was she born with an illness?
No,
No.
she was not.
Okay. So you did say
Mm-mm.
everything was healthy, everything was good, other than your tear. So do you care to share?
What happened to her?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I would let everybody know that this comes with a big ass trigger warning. It's going to involve homicide, neglect, child neglect, um, and graphic details. Is that okay?
If it's okay
That's
with you,
okay.
I don't want, and it's you. So if you're okay with it, you share as much as you want to share.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you for giving me autonomy in that way. Um, my daughter was a picture of health. I mean, cause she, you know what? She liked fruits and veggies. Now, I don't know. I think she get that from her dad, cause she didn't get it from me. I'm coming into it though. I'm coming into it. I like fruit, the vegetables. Eh. I don't eat a lot of them, but I ate the odd ones like spinach. I grew up liking spinach, a little hot sauce, and it was all right with me. I like cabbage. You know what
Hot
I'm saying?
sauce
On your spinach, on your
on your
come on,
spinach.
bye.
Okay. Okay.
No,
Okay.
the spinach in the can by Popeye, Popeye the Sailor Man.
You ate spinach out of a can with hot sauce.
Absolutely. I
Okay.
told you I grew up in the hood. We had to do what we had to do.
I get
Okay.
it. I remember.
Now, as an adult, as a mature woman, I don't eat that no more. I eat spinach, regular old spinach, But as a kid, hot sauce is what did it for me. Shout out to it. So, cause I've developed now. I cook fresh spinach. I go get fresh spinach now, and I eat it that way. There's a dash of kosher salt, and we all good, or sea salt, and it's all good. But back in the days, it was hot sauce and spinach. But she liked fruits and veggies. Like I said, she was an earthworm, so she was always outside playing. We made sure she had her checkups, took her to the dentist, and this and that and that and this. We made sure she was well, right? We didn't play around. I'm talking about my baby was a little bougie. Sidebar, when she went to daycare, first of all, we didn't raise her on red meat. We ain't bullshit around. Okay. Um, when she would go to daycare, I would always ask, what y'all having for lunch today? And she was, oh, they having hot dogs. I'll be right back. And I would go get her Chick-fil-A. Or when she would run out of snacks, I was at Whole Foods. Keep in mind, I had food stamps. So I was able to do this. Shout out to food stamps. So I would go to Whole Foods and get her. I had the money to do it, but you can give me a little extra help. I'm not gonna say no to some free money. Absolutely not. Um, so I would go get her like the organic juice by apple juice boxes, and get her when they would do the fresh cut fruit in the morning. I would go get that. You know what I'm saying? I would make sure that my baby had the best of the best. The things that I couldn't afford or my mother couldn't afford me as a kid, I did what I had to do to see it and make sure that my baby could get at least some of those things. Because I'm still in my early 20s. I'm trying to figure it out too, but I tried my best. She liked oatmeal. Um, she was pretty healthy, but so that's why it came as a shock when she turned up dead. People was just like, "Fuck, did she have cancer? Was she poor? Like, what happened? Did she fall? Like, what happened?" I didn't know. Um, I left her father. Me and her father had already been broken up for over a year when she passed away, but I had moved back to St. Louis. That's where I was living. That's where she's from. Excuse me. I had lunch today, and it just came up. So excuse me. Had a 3-piece spicy from Popeyes. That just excuse me. And and it was so good. Guess what I had with it? Some hot sauce. And she she was born in St. Louis, had it at a birthing center, and me and her dad, they stayed up there. I had left her with him for a couple of months, so I could get myself together to move back up there. You know what I'm saying? So she could have the both of us. And I got back up there, and me and him gave each other 6 months to get our own place, stable job, and this and that, so that we could co-parent in separate homes. Because we was like, bro, we not together. We not getting back together. We don't care how much we cohabitate. I don't like you that much, and you don't like me that much. And just doing it for the baby, don't cut it. Don't ever just do it for the kids. You're gonna end up hurting them kids more in the long run than if you were to just stay for them, because they don't know what the hell going on. They didn't ask for you to stay together for them. They don't know what's happening, right? So we gave each other 6 months. Now I got myself together. I had got me a new car. I went from an '03 to a 2020 just like that. Got me a new car. I got me a good job, and I was fixing my credit. My credit was about to hit 700, and so I was applying for an apartment. And I had just accepted a job offer, one of my dream jobs, to be an English teacher at a high school. I was going to be teaching high school literature. And oh man, I was so excited. I was like, man, life is doing what it's supposed to do. But he still didn't have no car, still didn't have no stable job, still didn't have no place to stay. And this isn't me bashing him. This is me telling the truth. He just didn't have those things. Um, and so I, as her mom, I said, hey, your 6 months almost up. Now I did it and you ain't. So how about this? I'm gonna take you to your aunts. When I get back, I had went home. My sister-in-law had came to town to spend time with Elena. And took her to the Ritz and uh, took her to a fancy brunch, took her to Chuck E. Cheese. Boy, I could not get her to go to sleep that night. Goddamn. I was like, go to bed. She was like, hell no, not tonight. Boy, she was bouncing off the literal walls, right? She had herself a good time. So the next day, I told him, I said, how about this? I'm going to go home with my sister for a couple of days. I'm going to talk to my mom about some things. I'm going to clear my head because it had been a stressful 6 months, if I do say so myself. And I said, when I come back, so you can keep my car because he didn't have a car. So you keep my car, do what you got to do. And when I come back, I'm taking you wherever you need to go within the 3 hour radius. And I'm taking the baby back home to my mom for a few weeks until I start teaching summer school. After that, until you get a stable job, your own car, your own place to stay, You cannot have my daughter. You can visit at my house. Hey, I might even let you take her to the park. But until you get your shit together, this is it. Because she needs stability. She needs consistency. And he turned around and said, "You really gonna take my baby from me?" And I looked at him and I was like, "Absolutely." I was like, "I'm not taking her from you, but she can't go with you either because you're not ready to give her the things that she needs right now." So I went home, like I said, went home with my sister, had a good time, saw the man that I was dealing with here. I get a call the next day. Very long, painful story short, she was dead. And some in my holy grail says something ain't right. She just dead like that. When I got back to St. Louis, I found out that she had died in my car. She was with him. And months had went by. He told me his version of what happened. He said he was riding around in the car with the windows rolled up and the air off so he could talk on the phone. I was like, "For how long?" It was like, "For about a couple of hours." And I was like, "Who the fuck was you talking to? That you had to have the windows up and the air off with a baby in the car? Because your nose bleed at 70 degrees Fahrenheit."
Mm.
So the math is not mathing, good sir. So I was like, "How about this? Until we figure out what happened, you stay over there and I'm gonna stay over here because see, I'm gonna do something to you. Because I think you lying to me." Because he told me that he turned around and she had threw up on herself and she was already blue in the face. When my baby got to the hospital, she was 109 degrees. She was already dead. A couple months later, the original detective on her case, called me and said, "Hey, I'm talking about this man his voice was cracking. It was like he couldn't stand to tell one more mother what was going on with their child." And he was like, "Hey, we got it back. We know how she died. Definitely." He was like, "I'm so sorry to tell you this, but she died of hyperthermia. She overheated.
She OD'd.
She overheated.
Overheated. Mm-hmm.
She got too hot." Um, I started screaming immediately. And you could hear this detective over the phone sniffling. He was like, "God damn." You know what I mean? It dawned on me in that moment that she suffered. It was almost like she was burned alive. I know she was screaming. Because what's the first thing you say when you get too hot? "Fuck! It's hot in here. Somebody turn the air on. Yeah, it's hot in here. Y'all not hot?" I'm talking about you going off. It's hot, boy. So I know my baby was crying. I know she was probably calling somebody's name. Because when she would get mad at me, she'd call her daddy name. And when she would get mad at him, she'd call my name. When she got irritated, she'd be like, she'd grumble and be like, "Mommy." And I'm like, "What you say?" Yeah, speak up. They say it with your chest. Don't be mumbling and grumbling around these parts, sister. Um, so I know that my baby was calling for me to come get her. I got a death certificate. I want to say at the bottom of this year, it was or the top of this year. I just time, boy, slipped away from you, girl. And I opened up the packet, and it said, "Manner of death: homicide. You could buy me for a wooden nickel. Because I was like, the only person that she was with was her daddy. Not too long after I got her death certificate, the detective called me and was like, hey, we're about to indict Josh for endangering the welfare of a child, resulting in death. Second degree.
Mm.
Boy, you couldn't pay me to believe this. So they indicted him in March, arrested him in May, here in Memphis, transferred him because he went on the run. This motherfucker went on the run. He always had a feeling that they were coming for him. I remember I called him when I found out that he was on the run, and I said to him, I said, hey, you need to get your ass home. He was like, they looking for me, ain't they? And I was like, and you know it. I was like, I don't care for you. I have nothing for. I was like, you could spit on me, and I wouldn't blink because you mean nothing to me. So I was like, all I care about is getting justice for my baby. So if they say you did what you say you did, you best to get home, or I'm coming for you. And I can guarantee you it ain't just gonna be me. They arrested him within a few days. I had some help, but we got his ass. And they transferred him back to St. Louis in June. July 27th, I went up there. So not even a week ago was I in St. Louis. And I finally met with the prosecutor. And she told me that she was charging him with first degree. Just found this out not even a week ago. First degree. And she told me when his trial date was, and they pushed it back for a year. And I said, well, if you got all the evidence, what happened to my baby? Please tell me what happened. She said, well, he left her in the car for 2 hours. For over 2 hours, she was in that car by herself. No air, no ventilation. And when he got back to the car, she was already dead. I have been scratching and fighting over the last year to make sense of what happened based off what he told me. And I quite honestly, and it's just human error. You can throw tomatoes at me if you like, but I try my best to tell myself that he didn't mean it. Because he was the type of dad to read her a bedtime story, sing her to sleep. He was the type of dad to iron her dress with a hot skillet because he couldn't find the iron. He was the type of dad to see me struggling in the middle of the night to get this damn baby to go to sleep and take her and put her on her chest and she'll fall. Put her on his chest and she'll fall and be asleep the rest of the night. Long as she was in her daddy's arms, she was okay. I mean, from the moment she was born, he would put this girl on her chest and she, for the rest of the night. I'm talking about gone. But me, she want to toss and turn and wiggle and giggle. Ain't no funny because I'm tired. I'm still breastfeeding. It's 3 o'clock in the morning and it's something called dream feed. Where you had your baby You got your boob out. So, you know what I'm saying? If anybody take a picture of you, you look your absolute worst. Your best as well because you're nourishing life. But goddamn it, aesthetically, it's not all that pleasing. And he would get her and on the chest, and she would just be out like a light. So what happened to her? He took her, I believe, because it was either he was gonna take her or I was gonna take her.
Last question. So the event that you had at your home, well, at the spot when you wanted to share,
Mm-hmm.
had that been the first time you had shared your writings concerning your daughter?
No, but that was the first time that I shared what happened to her publicly. I had never said it out loud. I never said it on social media. I never said it. Not one time. I never talked about the intricacies of her case. No one even knew that her case was under investigation. If you didn't know me personally, if you didn't have my, it was that Popeyes again. If you did not have my phone number, you didn't know. You weren't even close to knowing what was going on. So after I didn't get all the information until Thursday, but after I got pretty much all the information, I was just like, my baby deserves justice. And part of justice is telling the truth and the whole truth, the good and the bad. Yeah.
So how do you feel about sharing it now in this capacity? I'm honored. Let me say that. I really, really am. Um,
Uh,
but
well, thank you for being honored.
I am. I am. Listen, I know how it. First of all, I know how it feels to be a person who does not, unless you know me or are right there with me, you don't know what's happening in my world.
You not for real. I may make a joke or two.
Correct, but you don't know for real.
You don't know for real, man.
And so, and I told you this, and I mean this with my whole heart. Women of all ages need to have and hear and engage in conversations with women like you. And
Oh,
I'm saying that not just because of the things that you've gone through. I'm talking about the fact that women my age, me currently, are struggling to find that vulnerable place, that place to be soft, that place to go to the root of why we are functioning and moving the way that we're moving. And you have definitely taken that and catapulted. And I know that it has not been easy. And I know that you have been moving through life the best you can. But just you sharing and you being still, I see glimpses, and I don't even really know you that well, but I see glimpses of who you are just in the spinach and the hot sauce. You know what I'm saying?
well, thank you.
So I'm not gonna give you cliches about it was all in God's plan and girl, you'll be all right. Listen, keep putting one foot in front of the other. Keep hugging your womb and your heart, and let, because like you said, we were born and we die. So you still got space in between because you still here. You right here with me.
Okay.
So we're gonna work with the space that's in between.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I mean, honestly, that's all we got. Got
Right.
that little window of time.
That little window. That little window.
And I want to say, that I'm grateful uh, to be here. Really, it's an honor to be here. I've never done anything like this. I've never been on a podcast or anything for that matter. I just be, thugging with my rounds and studying it out. And I don't know, when you said that, women your age and even yourself struggle to find that vulnerability, I've been reflecting on that since, because facts. My mother is, I know, at least maybe like 15 years older than you. And she, boy,
Yeah.
that lady don't talk about nothing.
Yeah.
Don't talk nothing. And she is so close up on herself in that way, and so disconnected from that level of vulnerability, that when I say anything about my business, she swear I didn't put my coochie on live. I'd be like, girl, I'm so serious. My mom swear I just went butt naked wild, boy. I'm like, it's not that deep.
Yeah.
What's the point of being me if I can't tell you about me?
Mm.
It ain't no fun.
Mm.
How am I supposed to nurture, show up in friendships and relationships if I can't talk about me? No one is going to come into my life knowing how to love me.
Mm. Mm.
That's ideal. Drop my phone. I don't want it. But that's ideal, right? To come into my life and you know how to love me. No, you don't. You don't know me.
No.
So I got to teach you. I can't teach you how to love me, how to cherish me, honor, respect me, and all the other good things. Value me, do me right in so many ways that do me. I
Mm.
can't teach you that.
Mm.
If I oh love a good person, uh, love a good man and woman, boy. But I can't teach you how to do those things if I don't talk about myself. If I don't know who I am, if I can't voice what I need, don't do that. I don't like that. This is why. I can't tolerate this. I will not tolerate that. Hey, what you said the other day hurt me, and this is why. Cause see, 20 years ago when my dad did this, it's set in me. I'm dealing with it, but it's still there. So be cool, right? You gotta have it. You gotta be able to talk, so that you can teach. No teacher is silent.
Mm.
They talk. And the greatest teachers are the ones who talk from experience, are the ones who are vulnerable. And if you need a visual or an example, and I will answer your question about, how I feel about sharing my daughter's story, but one of my favorite movies, and call me what you want, but one of my favorite movies is The Karate Kid. Now I grew up on the one with Jaden Smith. That's the one I grew up on. I watched the original one and it's so much better. But I grew up on the one with Jackie Chan and Jaden Smith, and it's a scene in that movie where Jackie Chan is tearing that car up, the car that his wife died in. He tearing that junk up, boy, going crazy, getting drunk. And Jaden's character, I think his name was Trey in the movie. Trey never seen Jackie Chan's character. I don't know, I forgot their character names, but he never seen a crack in his arm until that night.
Mm.
Jackie Chan's character had to get vulnerable and be raw and honest with Jaden, because that was the essence of karate that he was trying to teach him. That is what made him a master. that is what made him a good teacher. His vulnerability, his rawness, his openness. So, and my teachers in life, Miss Jacira, Mama Ayo, and they honest, boy. They're vulnerable. They talk to me and they tell me, hey, not only do I understand, but I've been there.
Mhm. Mhm.
So I'm grateful that you see that in me. Um, it was just instilled in me for real, for real. Um, I went to school for it. I mean, I studied humans for a living.
Mhm. Mhm.
Uh, I studied humans for a degree,
Mhm.
and I had to be good at it.
That's right.
But
That's
to answer your question, I'm actually quite skeptical about talking about my daughter because people have so many opinions on where are you at, and you knew he wasn't shit. Why you da 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 da? Man, please be quiet before I treat you like I don't know you. Um, in these streets about mine, right? I'm
right.
a little
That's right.
skeptical. I'm a little nervous.
That's right. That's right.
You know what I mean? Because I will go toe to toe with anybody about my
That's
daughter.
right.
Still,
Understood. Understood.
you did. Told, and I'm a
Understood.
little lady, toe to toe. Um,
Understood.
so that's, I mean, honestly, that's actually accurate. I'm nervous because I don't want everybody's opinion because the fact remains what the fact is.
Period. Exactly. 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 Well, know that this is a safe space. I know that it's going out. Um, but know that it's a safe space. And I wish a nigga would have the audacity to post anything inappropriate. I
Get the
wish.
troops rounded up.
Listen,
Let's
I don't
start a war.
won't need no
Let's
troops.
go. Boy, shut it down for me. If you get there,
Mhm.
what I do,
Oh,
shut it down
you ain't
because
got
I'm
to
on the
worry.
way.
Listen, you ain't got to worry because what I
I'm
am
good.
learning at this point in my life is for my young daughters and my young sisters to be strong, I have to be an elder and protect them and create a space so that you can continue to do the work you need to do. And that's what I'm here for. You ain't never got to worry. If you even out somewhere and I catch someone and you look like they making you uncomfortable, recognize that
Oh,
that's
stop.
not how I move.
I'll cry. I will cry. I will. My allergies are already messed. I will cry. Okay, right now.
Hmm.
But that's a part of the community that we missing as well. Elders being elders and
Absolutely.
protecting instead of projecting.
Exactly. Exactly. Exactly.
And so
Absolutely.
I I I cannot even express my gratitude of hearing you say that. Thank you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you, love. I appreciate you. I really, really do. I see that little you think you talk about Karate Kid. I see that glow, and that's what I want to help protect. That's what I want to help protect. So listen again. Continue to do what you need to do. This is not just about the show. If at any point you want to just reach out to say hello, please do.
Absolutely.
Please do. Please do. Because I'm here. That's what I'm here for. That's what I'm
And
here
I'm
for.
grateful. I'm grateful.
Absolutely.
I'm grateful.
Absolutely.
Thank you for having me. Thank you so much.
No, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'm sending a special covering over your heart. I'm sending a
Hey
special
now.
covering over your mind. I'm sending a special covering over that room, honey.
Amen.
And
I'm
I
receiving it
pray that
all.
the next touch you get will be exactly what you need.
It's this man I'm talking to right now. Boy, he know he fine, boy. Boy, I am doing everything in my power to be good.
Is this the one we was talking about you're going to cook breakfast for at some point in life?
Who? No, not him. It ain't him. It ain't. Girl, he'll be all right, honey. He will be
Okay.
just fine. He'll
Oh,
be
okay.
just
Well,
fine.
mm,
But you know, he's a friend. I would still
okay.
cook breakfast for him. He is a good friend, especially when he become an old man. And I'm if he ain't walking no more, and I am, I will go make him a little piece of ham and toast.
Felicia,
He's
we're
a
gonna
good
end
person.
this. We're gonna end this right here because you just
Well, yeah. Thank you so much, though. Thank you.
oh my God. Please, if you don't lose nothing else, don't you lose your sense of humor, girl. Don't lose
Thank you, so I
it is
appreciate that.
priceless.
That's
It
what
is
gets me through. For
priceless.
real. Thank you.
Yes, yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Well, I hope to see you and hug you again very, very soon.
Absolutely.
Out in the next couple of years,
Same.
I'll be looking at your book in the novel bookstore.
Oh, you will get a personal signed copy just right from
Hmm.
me, from
Hmm.
my
I'll be there.
address to you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Rest well, love.
Same to you.
Talk to you soon.
Same to you.
Man, I really don't have words. I really don't. I will say this. Um, my prayer has been to the Creator that um, as I continue to walk in my in between stages of life, that I accept the vulnerability and acknowledge the fact that becoming a spiritual being, becoming a higher me, I am going to have to climb that ladder with no shoes on. And I am going to walk in this where I need to protect and create a space for my beautiful sisters and my beautiful daughters that are out here dealing with things. It is not my place to be like I was. Girl, we strong. We not out here. We not supposed to be showing our feelings and our emotions. That's not what that's about. That's not what that's about, and that's not true healing. So I salute Balisha a lot for just living, not just surviving. She is living, and it's beautiful. It's beautiful. I love the glow, and as a woman in her community, I'm gonna do everything that I can to make sure that she keeps it. And that's any other sister or daughter that I come in contact with. Know that. Know that. So, guys, thank you so much for hanging in there. That was work. That was work that needed to be done, and her story needs to be heard because there's so many of you out there hurting. There's so many of you out there building this hard outer shell, trying to protect yourself when there's some people that need to hear from you and need to know that they're not in this world alone. So I hope that you allowed yourself to receive what was given into you today. And I hope that you can touch and hug and agree with another sister that needs to hear your story. I love y'all. And I will see you all next Thursday. Peace, love, and tenderness. I'm not talking about being tender with no one else other than yourself. Have a great night, guys.